Police pursuits, car accidents, criminals getting busted, street racers evading police, all of this and more in today's episode of Police Stories. Police officer Frank was patrolling a quiet stretch of Texas when he noticed two luxury vehicles speeding well beyond the legal limit. They were racing down the road with no regard for safety. Without hesitation, Officer Frank turned on his patrol lights, signaling the drivers to pull over. Instead of complying, they floored the gas and fled the scene. Frank immediately called for backup, and within minutes, Officer Samuel joined the chase. The pursuit quickly escalated to speeds of around 80 miles per hour as the suspects weaved in and out of traffic. Unfortunately, this high-speed chase was destined to end in disaster. The driver of the Range Rover was recklessly overtaking vehicles as they approached a busy intersection. A yellow SUV attempted to make a left turn, unaware of the speeding Range Rover, and was violently struck. The impact sent debris flying, blocking the intersection entirely, leaving the second suspect with nowhere to run. Realizing escape was futile, the second driver surrendered. Both suspects were arrested, and after a thorough investigation, it was revealed that the vehicles had been stolen from a nearby dealership. The damages were estimated at a staggering $90,000, with the Range Rover being totaled. The driver of the yellow SUV was transported to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Let this serve as a reminder. Engaging in illegal activities will always catch up to you, and sooner or later, you will find yourself behind bars. Officer Mark was patrolling undercover in his specially outfitted Toyota Supra when his attention was drawn to a blue Supra that had just merged onto the main road. Without warning, the blue car roared past him at an alarming 90 miles per hour, clearly breaking the speed limit. Mark instantly began pursuit, but the chase was brief. The blue Supra, now speeding through a curvy section of the road with moderate traffic, misjudged a turn and sideswiped a taxi. The sudden collision caused the blue Supra to lose control, sending it careening into oncoming traffic, where it collided head-on with a Volkswagen. Fortunately, despite the severity of the crash, everyone involved was unharmed, thanks to seatbelts. The driver of the blue Supra was quickly taken into custody and charged with evading the police, street racing, and causing a car accident. Officer Mark emphasized the importance of wearing seatbelts, obeying speed limits, and never racing in traffic, because the consequences can be severe. Officer Richard was on duty in Fairhaven when he noticed something unusual: a convoy of 4 luxury vehicles speeding through the city streets. To make matters worse, they blatantly ran a red light. Richard wasted no time and initiated pursuit, immediately calling for backup. As expected, the drivers attempted to flee, but reinforcements arrived quickly, with 2 additional police vehicles joining the chase. One of the backup officers, Nightblood, soon called for a roadblock with spikes to halt the fleeing convoy. He focused on the Range Rover and the BMW M5, which appeared to be leading the pack. It felt like something straight out of a Need for Speed video game, Richard later recalled. The high-speed chase tore through downtown, where the driver of a GLE crashed into a cargo van, losing control before plowing into the side of a building. At the same time, Officer Speed successfully maneuvered to arrest the driver of a Supra, but the maneuver caused the Supra to crash into a light pole. The driver was arrested on the spot. Further down the road, the planned spike strip finally stopped both the BMW M5 and the Range Rover, flattening their tires and allowing Officer Nightblood to make the arrest. The 20-year-old Supra driver was transported to the hospital with major injuries but fortunately survived. He was later charged with grand theft auto and evading the police. The Range Rover and BMW M5 drivers, two black males aged 21 and 24, were also taken into custody. The courage and dedication of the police officers who risk their lives daily for our safety should never be taken for granted. In the midst of an afternoon rush hour, 4 police cars were hot on the trail of a suspect involved in a drug deal. The pursuit had started a few miles back when officers first spotted the suspect acting suspiciously in a parking lot. As they attempted to approach him, he bolted from the scene. Traffic was heavy, with commuters heading home for the day. The chase led to a blind curve, and just beyond it was a busy intersection.
Okay.
The suspect sped recklessly into the intersection, colliding with a blue SUV that was turning left. Despite the crash, the suspect kept driving, refusing to give up. One of the officers executed a pit maneuver to disable the suspect's car, but he still attempted to escape. Meanwhile, another officer was forced off the road, narrowly avoiding several trees. In a swift team effort, the police boxed in the suspect's vehicle, ending the pursuit once and for all. Upon searching the vehicle, officers discovered 2 kilos of illegal substances. The suspect was arrested and charged with evading the police, drug possession, and causing a car accident. Thankfully, the driver of the blue SUV walked away without any injuries. Officer Ben was patrolling the highways of Utah when he spotted a familiar vehicle. The driver had an extensive record of traffic violations. And to make matters worse, none of the fines had been paid. Deciding it was time to pull the driver over, Ben activated his lights, but the suspect decided to make a run for it. Ben immediately called for backup, and soon, Officer Nightblood and another officer joined the pursuit. The chase took a dangerous turn as the suspect veered off the highway onto dirt roads. One of the officers had to abandon the chase since his vehicle wasn't built for off-road pursuits. However, Ben and Nightblood pressed on, determined to stop the suspect. As the suspect pushed his vehicle too hard, he eventually lost control, causing the car to roll over multiple times. Without hesitation, Nightblood called for an ambulance while both officers rushed to extract the driver from the wrecked vehicle. The driver, however, was aggressive and resisted arrest. After a brief struggle, he was placed in handcuffs and examined by the paramedics. The driver was then transported to jail with a bail set at $5,000, facing charges for evading the police and resisting arrest. In every story, we see the bravery of law enforcement officers who risk their lives to keep the streets safe. Stay smart, avoid illegal activities, and always remember that crime never pays. The police were in pursuit of a man enraged by the results of a recent election. In his fury, he took out his Rampage truck and drove recklessly through the streets, smashing into civilian vehicles. Despite having no clear opportunity to stop him, The officers continued the high-speed chase, determined to intervene the moment they had a chance. The driver plowed through any vehicle in his way, deliberately hitting some of them. It seemed as though law enforcement would be unable to bring the situation under control. However, the chase took a dramatic turn when the driver made a critical mistake. He began ramming into multiple vehicles in quick succession, which caused him to lose control of his truck. In a sudden and violent collision, the truck struck a red sedan, pushing it into the path of an oncoming semi-truck. This catastrophic sequence of events caused the driver to lose complete control, sending his truck skidding off the road and into the sandy embankment at the side of the highway. Though the police officers involved in the pursuit were unable to avoid being part of the accident, they acted swiftly. They surrounded the truck and moved in to apprehend the driver. The man was arrested on the spot and later sentenced to life in prison. His reckless actions resulted in the injury and death of several civilians, as well as over $3 million in damages.